chess.com. I've got the black pieces. I'm going to try the Pirc again. So the Pirc begins with a queen lead, followed by the knight. The reason we play this queen lead is to prevent any central pawn from being advanced against the knight. Now, looking at what he's doing, that looks like the queen's gambit. I'm definitely not going to take that pawn. Even if I were in a position to do so, I wouldn't take it. So I don't know very much about the queen's gambit, but I do know that taking the pawn is exactly what the opponent would want. Okay, so the next thing is to fianchetto the king's bishop, much as you would do in the King's Indian Defence. The Pirc is an opening, well, it's a defence of course, but an opening for black, if you like, that is not that common. That's the reason I play it. My thinking on openings is that things like the queen's pawn and king's pawn openings have been studied for thousands of years. Every possible line has been worked out, every possible angle. He takes my knight straight away, so obviously I take his knight back. So these openings have been studied for thousands of years, and generally speaking, people settle on a particular opening and study all of the lines. Some people go to great lengths to memorize the best possible lines, and I don't want to do that. My goal in the opening is to get through it without falling for any traps. So develop my pieces, castle, not fall for any gambits or traps, and get safely into the middle game where we can settle down and think about playing proper chess. That's my theory anyway. So that's why I'm playing the Pirc, because it's less well known. People will be less familiar with the lines. Though of course this business of taking the knight there could be something that somebody has decided upon from playing against the King's Indian Defence previously. Okay, so we do need to develop these pieces. This is a move in the Pirc. Moving this pawn forward prevents this knight from coming to either of these two squares. So I like that. Also opens this diagonal for the queen. Now maybe this person has played against the Pirc before, because this three pawns in the center is definitely a recognized response. Okay, and he strikes at the center straight away. So what are we going to do? I don't know, but I think I'm going to pin his knight. If I do that, of course, he will take my pawn straight away, and then I could respond by taking with my knight, which would develop a piece. Okay, that doesn't look like a bad option. I think we'll do that. The Pirc opening, of course, is one that gives up control of the center early on in the game, and then the plan is to strike back and regain control. Not entirely sure how well I'm playing this time, because I do feel that this white pawn so well advanced, and now of course so well supported, could be a bit of an issue. Okay, well I could take his, yeah, in fact that's exactly what I'm going to do. I see a tactic. I'm going to take his knight. That puts him in check. He'll probably have to take me with his pawn. I'm going to take his pawn with my queen, and that's a forking his rook with his king. Not necessarily going to take the rook, of course, because his queen is sitting there, but that does look like a decent tactic. Okay, so that does win us a piece and a pawn. It weakens his position a bit. Need to be careful with the queen up there, but it can't be harassed by pawns in the position it's in. Can certainly be harassed by the other pieces. Now I feel I might just go ahead and take this pawn here, and I expect he will take me back. That will open up his position a little bit more. That's one possible move. I do need to think about getting these pieces out. I'm looking at where the bishop could go. I could go and pin the other knight. I think that's exactly what I will do. He's probably going to just come out and kick me away, and I'll think about taking his knight. That will lose my bishop, of course. Should that happen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 pieces too. So it's pretty equal. I think I'm maybe possibly slightly ahead. I think in terms of the overall position. Okay, so he didn't need to move the rook, but he does. We could go up here onto the 7th rank and annoy him. It's a check, actually. I'll do it. Take this other pawn. Okay. Need to get the knight out. Okay, so he brings the queen forward, offers a queen exchange. Now, do I want to do that? I think the queen exchange might favour him slightly. I think I'm going to take his rook here, force him to do something, loosen his position up a little bit more, and then we'll review the queen trade. So is he going to take with the pawn or his king? Yeah, the pawn. I think that's the best approach. Now I could drop the queen into this little hole here. I'm not sure where that gets me. Potential to take this. I could drop into here. Potential to take this pawn if I could get a bit of support over there. My pieces are a long way away. I am up. Am I up in pawns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, I haven't lost a pawn. So I've got an extra pawn. I could take. I know. I've got. Don't cloud your thinking. I've got an extra pawn. And he's got doubled pawns here. maybe that is slightly favours me going into the end game, so I'm going to accept the queen trade. See where that takes us. Okay, I'm going to take this pawn. It's all about pawns now. I'm going to get my knight out. Okay. I'm going to bring my knight across here so I can hop into this hole here. Okay, so he's straight down and onto my pawns and my knight. He's going to take one. I might take his bishop. Actually, I'm not going to take his bishop. I'm going to take this pawn here. That's a check. He's having to think about that, whether he wants to take a pawn or perhaps do something about this this pawn that's under attack. It's all about who can get the pawns off the board the quickest and gain the upper hand. Don't know what I'm thinking of here. I can't take that pawn. Typical beginner's mistake that would be, and I, of course, am a beginner. Whole reason I'm doing this is to analyze my own games, so I can learn a little bit from my own thoughts and thinking in terms of responses to other people's moves, as a way of improving my chess playing. And hopefully this might be helpful to other people too. It is my move. I'm going to take his bishop. So I expect him to take my knight. He does. And now we can think about the best moves here. Okay, I'm going to immediately challenge this pawn. His king is in a good spot. There's a pawn here he can take. Okay. Now, getting the king into the game is always key in the end game. There's a pawn there I can take with a check, so that's got to be a good move. And I can go and have a look at this pawn over here with a check if he keeps his king on that rank. I think we're up. He's got 4 pawns left. I've got 5. And if we take this, we create a passed pawn here. And that could be our key to winning, although we've both got 2 rooks. So it might not be as easy as all of that. I wonder if I could go for a checkmate. Little ladder check. Little ladder checkmate here. Check. I have to take this. I'll give it a try. Okay, come across. If he moves his rook, this would be a good square to get on. Check. He has to move back. I take. And he gets a move. And the next move is checkmate. That's what we're going to try for. Let's see what he does. Okay, so defends the pawn. Okay. So we're going to try, see if we can make something happen. Moving across, I'm planning to come up and check him. Of course, he he stops that. So let's go and harass this other pawn. He might just defend it with his king. Doing a good job with this other rook down here of keeping my king pinned in on this final rank. Okay, that's pretty good. So do we need to do something about this rook? Should I could come across. Let's see if we can make any progress here. I could check him, take this other pawn across here, although I don't see that pawn as that important in the grand scheme of things. His plan must be to remove my pawn here, so that he can bring this pawn down. And yes, he does do that. Okay, well, we could take this pawn. This pawn is the danger. I can see that that could be a big problem for me. Okay, we got a check. Does get me off the back rank, of course. Right. Now, how do we go about this? He's got both. What we've got to do, we have got to go and challenge this rook, I think. And I think I'm going to do that by just doubling up this way. Bring this rook across. See what he does. Okay, takes. And that gets us behind his pawn. Right, now we can turn our attention to these other pawns. It's a good opportunity on the far side of the board here, while his rook is tied up. We could check his king here. He would just come down and target this pawn. Okay, I think we'll go and take that pawn there. Okay. Okay, that's neat. That is neat. Yeah. I think what if I were to check him? He has to move out of the way. I take his rook, and he gets a queen. That's not good. I'm going to have to take his. I'm going to have to take his pawn after he promotes. He's going to take my rook, and then we're going to have to try to win this with our pawns, king and pawns. Can we do it? I'll concentrate on these two. He may go and target these other two. I don't want to waste any time. There are three moves to promote this pawn, but I might also have to move the king and possibly the other pawn too, so it's not going to be a straightforward promotion. Gonna have to fight for it. So what does he do? He might just come across and target this backward pawn here. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, there is something I could do, but it runs counter to my objective of driving this pawn to promotion. So If he targets this backward pawn here, I'm just going to let him have it and not waste time trying to defend it. Okay, well, it's having a good think about this. Lovely day over here in the UK today. Lovely sunny day. Makes you feel good to be alive. Yeah, he's having a really good think about this. I wonder if he's thinking of resignation. I wouldn't resign were I in his position. At this point, I'd be looking at removing. What would I be looking at doing? At this point, I would be trying to thwart my plans. So, you know, perhaps he should come and plant his. I was thinking that maybe he could try to stop my king advancing this way, but of course I'm going to use the pawn as a shield. So even if he did place his rook here, it shouldn't affect me. Too much. So that was oh, here we go, he's moved. That was definitely a blunder of mine, not considering what he was trying to do with the king. And that's of course cost me my rook. But nevertheless, we've got to plough on. So this brings us one step closer to our goal. Now what's he going to do? Come across and check me? If he does, I'll move aside. He might be going for perpetual. If he thinks he's going to lose, he might be going to just try and perpetually check me. But I'm not so sure he's going to be successful. We need to just make every move count, steadily advance until we get the queen. Might lose the queen, of course. He might, as soon as we promote, he might do exactly what I did and sack his rook. But then we've got other pawns too. Is he thinking he can go and use his king over here? Going to take him a long time to get his king over there. 1, 2. Okay, so there's the check. Now he can't really take my pawn. I don't think that would be a good move. Because of course I could just take his rook, and then it would be 2 moves to promotion. So what's he going to do now? Even to check me now requires 2 moves. So he moves here, 1. I move here. Check. Okay, he's got his king involved. Makes his rook move. Move behind. This is looking good for me. As I said, he might well sack his rook in a moment when I get a queen. Okay. So this should push his rook out of that square. This pawn is left dangling, of course. It might be tempting for his king, especially if he's thinking of trying to get rid of these pawns and get his single pawn here promoted. big decision. So he's got to move his rook or lose it. Surely got to move it, because I'm going to get a queen. If he left it there, it would take me a move to take him, a move to move out of the way, and a move to promote. So 3 moves if he just left it there. That would give him time, 1, 2, to take 1 pawn here and to get right up to this other pawn. But he still wouldn't have taken it. He'd need 2 more moves, and then another 2 to get up to his, or maybe not, but he needs at least two additional moves after I get my queen. So that's just not happening. Tough spot for him. But his only real option is to move out the way and take my queen. Do exactly what I did. Then he would be in a position with 1 pawn versus my 2, but his king would be well placed. Could end up with a draw. Okay, here we go. He's going to take that, I presume. I don't know what he's thinking about. He's thinking about taking this pawn? Surely not. He should take my pawn, draw my king away. Yes, he does. Now we've got a bit of a race on with these pawns. I can't save that one. So I'm going to move down towards my pawns and towards his pawn. I can't save that one. This doesn't look like a very easily winnable game. Now I've got the opposition here. That means he can't move towards my pawn. It means he's going to have to move away somewhere like here, this square here, which doesn't help him. Okay, well I think that's a poor move. Okay, I think he's just lost the game there. I think he could have done better than that. But this is clearly going to become a queen. And now we can look at checkmating. So just cutting him off from moving further this way. Actually, I probably screwed that up. Okay, let's move this way. Let's force the king down towards the bottom of the board. The way I like to do these checkmates, it's possibly not the optimum way, is to just get the opposition against the king and check, forcing the king down a rank, because of course every time I do this my king presents a 3 square barrier. Once that person is on the back rank, there's our checkmate. So there we go. Bit of a weird one, I think. But you know, I've not been playing the Pirc opening for very long. I've maybe played about half a dozen games, but I haven't lost a single game since I've been playing the Pirc. Is that a coincidence? Who knows? Okay, well, thanks for watching. Thanks to my opponent. Good game. Really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it too. Bye for now.